Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Slavic Gimmelbrandt. I'm not sure who know me, who don't. I'm responsible for Oracle Cloud Business Development in One, and we are glad to host today this webinar together with Opkey, our strategic partner in automatic testing tools for Oracle, Salesforce, and other systems. Okay, we actually address this webinar to Oracle customers. Okay, Oracle customers, not only Oracle Cloud, but also Oracle EBS for those customers who already moved from Oracle EBS to Cloud, who plan to do it. Those customers who will stay for EBS for a while still. And the purpose is to introduce you to the most advanced testing automation system on the market today. This is only the introduction session. After the session, we will contact each one to check if you would like to continue for one-on-one session to know more about the tool, to see how it can fit your needs in specific organization. Okay, but this will be the next step, and I don't want to take more time from Opkey team. So guys, the stage is yours, and you're welcome to continue.
Okay. Thank you, Slavic. So, Slavic, can you just confirm that you guys can see my screen that I am sharing right now?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, yeah, for today's session here, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself, my colleague Vishwa, who will be also presenting alongside of me. And then I think for the most part, most of you folks know Slavic in the introduction he just gave. So, for you folks, my name is Michael Carr, and I'm one of our channel account managers here over at Opkey. So I'd work with a lot of our partners, around the globe. And Vishwa, do you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, but hi everyone, this is Vishwa. I'm from the pre-sale side of the business. I take care of all the POCs, technical walkthroughs, demos, and happy to have you guys here.
Awesome. Thank you. So before we kind of get started and get into, the slides that I'll review and talk more about, just wanted to kind of briefly go over kind of what we have planned for today. I'll start with some more, generic information, just, introducing Opkey, a little bit of the background. Then I'll get into more of our, product benefits, differentiators, some use cases, where using or utilizing Opkey can be found, then transition into more Oracle specific related items. Today's session will obviously be mostly focused on, the Oracle testing capabilities that you will receive with Opkey. We'll quickly run through a active client case study of ours. As some of you folks, you may or may not be using EBS, but since it falls under kind of that Oracle umbrella, I have a few slides just to touch upon some of our capabilities as it pertains to EBS. Then we'll jump into Vishwa's portion, which he'll take us into the actual demo environment for you folks to see the platform and product and some of the features that we will talk about throughout today's session. And then to end, we'll just go for some Q&A. My recommendation is for the Q&A piece, you guys can throw your questions in the chat early on. You may see that some of those questions might be addressed, throughout the session. But at the end, we can certainly, circle back and, address anything that has not been. And, we have 60 minutes allotted here. I wouldn't say typically, our webinars, take up that entire 60 minutes. But we do have it. So, if there are a lot of questions and whatnot towards the end there, we want to make sure that we do get everything addressed. Thank you to, Slavic and the 1-1 team here to help putting this together. And, certainly they are somebody that you can, or will lean on for more information, following the demo here. So just want to start off by, a little bit of background, some, kind of where we started, where we're at today. So Opkey was, founded here in 2015. Now, it's important to note that when we were founded, it was more of a, generic testing platform. So any type of web-based application, desktop application, mobile apps, things of that nature. But more recently, as early as 2020, we began shifting our focus to more named business applications. We've seen an area of opportunity there for us to be more specific, with testing. And, we found a lot of these, business applications, are continuously, making changes, pushing updates. And it really, became a challenge for a lot of clients, which I'm sure some of you, or if not all of you, are experiencing, whether you're going through an implementation or if you've already been, live with your Oracle application. And it's important to note that we still have that same capability of when we started to, being a more generic testing platform, which allows us the ability to, provide, more testing across multiple different applications and just not Oracle specific. We do have a global presence. We are headquartered here in the US. It is a SaaS-based platform with the ability to host in the cloud or on-prem. I would say today, we have a little over 250, customers and partners, and majority of them are utilizing Opkey for their Oracle testing. The last piece here too that I want to touch upon is this is going to be a theme throughout today's kind of conversation, today's session, and it's really around that 30,000 plus. And what that 30,000 plus is referring to our accelerator library. And right now, as of today, we have over 30,000 what we would call accelerators, which are a combination of pre-built test scripts and reusable components across all of our applications that we do have features built for and more specific functionality. So that's not just limited to Oracle. It's also Workday and Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, and many more. Here's some of the logos that we do work with today. As you can see, there's not really any one specific industry or type of company that we do work with. It's a pretty wide variety from government to retail to manufacturing to utilities, you name it. All right, so I want to transition to talk a little bit more about the Opkey differentiators and the benefits that come with the platform. I really broke this down into kind of three areas. So what are you getting from a product perspective? What are you getting, support? How is that being provided? And then just the overall roadmap for both us and for you as a future client. So starting with just what comes with the product, what are you getting with the Opkey product? So some of the highlights here are, standing up an automation suite faster than most. What we find is that, some of our competitors out there, you might be looking at a couple months timeline of getting an automation suite stood up, where we find a lot of our clients, are onboarded in about a 2 to 4 week time frame. Now, there are some complex clients that we have experienced where, their Oracle environment, is very dynamic, very complex. So, those sometimes might be a 4 to 6 weeks time frame, but for the most part, a quicker onboarding and faster automation suite being stood up. Another area that we focus on as far as, a benefit and a differentiator is your ability to increase the number of test scripts. This will be something that you learn more about throughout today's session, that, will add a little bit more context to what we mean by the ability to increase the number of test scripts, reducing time and effort in maintaining your testing program. So really, a lot of those tedious tasks that come with, manual testing, having the Opkey platform, having, the product, do a lot of that work for you. Testing beyond, just, regression cycles. So, there is a lot of intrigue and interest around how can we better manage, those quarterly patches and, those regression cycles once you are live. But there are some other cycles that can also be leveraged, with the Opkey platform. Two that come to mind would be like a UAT cycle or SIT cycle. And then again, just to kind of cap things off from a product perspective, it's not limited to just your Oracle only test scripts. The ability to provide, a full end-to-end testing program for your folks, whether it's, all the applications that are talking to your Oracle or even just other applications, beyond Oracle. When we talk about what support is provided, this is where we, emphasize, and our partner ecosystem is very important to us, such as working with a partner like 1. So what kind of support is provided, from Opkey can be, there are training and enablement, for users. Now, these training and enablement can be done through, live sessions, e-learning portals, community discourse. And when it comes to, implementing Opkey or onboarding support, really it could be partner led, it could be Opkey led. But while your users are possibly being trained on this, the testing program, the automation suite is being stood up in parallel. Managed services support or handling of the quarterly patches. This option here, if chosen, could allow, your partner to alleviate some resources and allocate and free up, more time for your users. So overall, really it's the support is there from, Opkey has the support provided to you. And again, we emphasize, our relationships, with partners in our partner ecosystem to help, along with that. And really it's beneficial to us and beneficial to you because it's more of a two-pronged approach, having both Opkey and, a partner of yours, being able to assist, with any, testing needs or, troubleshooting, anything of that nature. When we talk about the roadmap, really overall, our goal is to provide you folks with one platform for your testing needs. So really no more need to, find or use other multiple tools for testing, for all the other applications that maybe make up your tech stack. I know I previously mentioned, some of those other applications that we work with. So if you folks are also utilizing, say, Workday or Salesforce or Dynamics 365, the ability to not, to bring all that testing needs and requirements into one platform rather than having multiple different tools to support those. Furthermore, on, just some of the benefits and differentiators, why Opkey, we segregate these into kind of three categories. So mitigating risk, accessibility and acceleration, inefficiencies, and cost reductions. So how do we achieve, reduced risk? Well, I mentioned earlier the increase of test coverage, the ability to add more scripts. So more scripts and more testing, obviously leads to a less chance of, something being missed, something not being tested, and therefore breaking, either in the near future or even in the long-term future here. With manual testing and coding, that often can lead to some human errors. So, with automation, with Opkey, you're kind of mitigating and reducing the chance of that happening. And then with building AI, overall, AI is going to give you that better governance, and assuring overall your business processes are not interrupted. When we talk about acceleration and accessibility, testing that could be done with no code through our, what we call business user friendly UI. Really, it's a platform that was designed for not only your technical users, but also business users. We understand that they have a piece of the pie, or they're part of the equation as it comes to, testing. So having the ability for both types of users to utilize the platform. Now, those are done through, it is no code platform. We do have a drag and drop UI. So having those features available makes it much easier for, those folks with less of a technical background. And then the one-click automation, continuous testing, all of these will lead to shorter testing cycles and just more efficiencies, overall for your testing practices. Inefficiencies and cost reduction, both short-term and long-term cost reductions, really are all achieved when you consider and combine all of these areas that I just mentioned. With the addition of AI, something that we call self-healing script technology, really helps eliminate any manual testing effort, and doing so can reduce that chance of a system, breaking and, reducing that time for for any type of system downtime. All right, so going into a little bit more of the use cases, this here is an example of the different areas or phases that both our clients and partners alike look to use us during these. When we're talking about the implementation phase, when you're introducing Opkey or automation during the implementation phase, you can actually start beginning to use automation for that SIT cycle, for that UAT cycle. Oftentimes that SIT and UAT cycles, if they're not done efficiently in a timely manner, these can start to add up and lead to delays in your overall timeline of implementing your Oracle system. So it really can have an impact on that go to production date, which we all understand is very important to kind of reach that deadline and hit that mile marker. Our ability to populate scripts, integrate with different CI/CD pipelines, other tools such as Jira, ALOM, Jenkins, by automating these and our ability to work with these different technologies, really is going to help you stay on track with these timelines. And then even during the UAT, we've also had some clients and partners leverage, those scripts that are being used and automated as kind of a training resource, for the business users, through what we call our Opkey generated reports, which is something that we'll talk a little bit more down the line here today. For the transformation phase, whether it's data migration, cross-environment testing, you'll be able to, with the platform, thoroughly validate, any of the functionality, deployment, really uphold the overall integrity of the system. And then obviously, I think the most common, area that we find a lot of interest in is this production phase or post-implementation, once you are live. Obviously, a common pain point and concern for clients is, once you're live, how are you going to manage, those quarterly patches? We do have a few features that you'll see during the demo today. One being that is in impact analysis reporting, the self-healing technology. We do have, job schedulers, all of these combined, can really create a more efficient, management and oversight of your quarterly upgrades and ensuring that you're certifying those patches within a 2 weeks time frame. So there's obviously a lot of buzz around AI, and when we transition to the use of AI in Opkey, here's just a few pointers that the different areas where Opkey and AI is being used in our platform. So I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but I am just going to highlight a few of these. Point number one here is related to something we call test discovery. And this is a test mining process where we're actually mining your Oracle environment, through transactions, activity logs, and also taking a look at your configurations. The overall result of this process leads to what we would call like either your mined test cases or suggested test cases. The mined test cases are the ones that are being covered today through any of your transactions, any of your activity logs. But we're also mining your configuration where we're able to generate what we would call these suggested test cases. I earlier spoke about the ability to increase the number of test scripts. And this is where this comes into play, where the suggested test cases based off of your configurations are tests that we've identified that you could be or should be also testing, in your testing program today. This, again, test discovery is something that Vishwa will take you guys through on the demo environment to give you a better visual understanding of what that looks like. Lastly, I just want to touch upon the impact analysis and talk a little bit about how that works. Again, this is going to be something that you'll see during the demo, so it'll definitely add more context. But what is impact analysis and what is self-healing? So really what impact analysis is a report. And what we do is compare, snapshots of before and after. So for instance, right now, I think we're, ending 24B, and in the next couple months, 24C is going to be happening. So it's really taking a snapshot of the environment, from 24B to 24C and quickly identifying which test cases, which, components, fields are being impacted through this change. Maybe if it's a manual effort testing today, this is something that you have to run through your, test scripts multiple times in order to, figure out what's breaking, what's changed. This will actually pinpoint exactly, how many test cases are going to be impacted by any of the changes made. And then also the self-healing technology gives you the ability to, with a click of a button, essentially heal that test case, rather than having to manually go in and edit and make those changes to it. And again, this is something that Vishwa here will also cover, during the demo portion at the end here. All right, so moving to more Oracle specific related, testing and, challenges and everything Oracle related. These are a few of the common challenges that we see with, Oracle in our clients, and how you can then address these with Opkey. So I think the one thing that we find is most clients, really they're only testing a small fraction of what they should be testing. So with the use of our test discovery platform, I talked to, again, some of it's repetitive, but I talked a little bit about how, increasing that, number of scripts. So by taking, test discovery, mining test cases, spitting out more suggested test cases, really just leads to more test coverage. Transitioning to the accelerator. So in that first slide at the beginning, we have over 30,000 plus accelerators, across a wide variety of different applications. Specifically to Oracle, we have more than 7,000. And again, those accelerators are a combination of pre-built scripts that are available and reusable components, with leveraging the use of those. And then we also have a Oracle dedicated screen recorder, which, can then be triggered and used for maybe any of the steps or components that, isn't in our library. Maybe it's, something that's more customized and needs to be created. So kind of filling in that gap for, what we do have available versus what we don't have available. Most of the time, I'd say, our mined and suggested test cases can cover close, up towards like 80%, sometimes 90% of your environment. And that remainder of the 10% or 20%, will just need to be leveraged through that Oracle screen recorder and playback. VMs is another thing where, execution power comes into the mix. So each client is allocated and provided, with what we call our Opkey VMs. So when you're combining both, the use of our accelerators, the Opkey VMs, the overall result is, faster testing creation time and faster test execution time. Again, the use of impact analysis, and generating that report, quickly identifying which scripts are going to be impacted and, self-healing those scripts. These overall can help improve your script maintenance. There's actually one other thing that's not listed on here that we've released sometime last year, which is called QLM, and what we call quality lifecycle management. And really it's a test management platform where, within the Opkey platform, which allows, your users to better manage, the different scripts, the jobs, and really just the overall testing program. The last piece there, from challenges is UAT. And, by automating this UAT cycle, you're really empowering now, some of those users that, previously or are currently in, performing the UAT cycles. You're really empowering them to prioritize, other areas of the business that might be, more of their focus. Our reports that we generate, we do have, screenshots, step-by-step screenshots that can be, populated, which, again, this is something that we found that can be used as a training tool or learning tool if there is concern about, kind of automating the cycle, because this is a cycle that, allows your users to get familiar with the system. So by leveraging those reports in the screenshots step by step, you can really, leverage those and still get that same kind of training or learning for the user, so they're familiar with, the Oracle system that you have, and maybe any of the changes that happen from, one quarter to the next. Furthermore, on, just more Oracle specific related testing, our accelerator library, I mentioned there's, 7,000 plus today. These cover, you know, the financials module, supply chain management, human capital management, ERP, and EPM today, with a few others also in the mix there. We're also always in our roadmap looking to add more Oracle modules into that. Other modules like warehouse management or transportation or trade management are all part of the roadmap to build, you know, more available and reusable pieces of, you know, content that you guys can, you know, leverage and use moving forward. Reports is another value add that comes with our platform. I mentioned that report where, you know, we can generate, you know, screenshots, you know, step by step. So we actually generate a few different types of reports that are made available to you. You know, a summary report, which is more of just a, you know, kind of high level overview of, you know, what your testing, you know, program looks like, or what, you know, in a specific cycle, you know, all the test cases that were, you know, a part of that. There's validation reports, and then the detailed execution report, you know, with screenshots is the one that I've, you know, previously mentioned. All right, so I want to take a few minutes to just touch upon a case study. Now, this is an active client of ours today, and the company is Northwell Health. And this particular case study is going to detail, you know, just some of the areas where we helped Northwell in their post-implementation or production phase. So really around managing, you know, their quarterly updates. From some background on Northwell Health and who they are, you know, it is New York's largest healthcare provider. They have, you know, over 80,000 employees, 850 locations, you know, more than, you know, million some patients, you know, every year. Their primary concern was for them was the available resources that they have against the risk of extended, you know, downtime for their HCM module when it came to their quarterly patches. Their upgrade challenges consisted of kind of staying current with that quarterly update, being behind on accepting and pushing like some of the new innovative updates that Oracle is pushing that they can use for their business users. And also they needed to utilize additional technical resources, you know, beyond that 2-week window to effectively test, you know, not only their Oracle specific processes, but also their end-to-end processes. So their testing processes were quite complex. They involved multiple different SMEs across each of their enterprise applications, you know, which had to be tested, you know, individually, you know, during each update. You know, this really ultimately led to, you know, their IT team and business teams being, you know, kind of strapped with, you know, bandwidth, you know, and, you know, being able to accept those new enhancements that are being pushed out, you know, for future updates. They had to, those future enhancements, you know, had to get pushed. If say it would happen in 24B, they didn't have the bandwidth to accept that in 24B. They had maybe had to push it out to 24D. So what they did was they actually opted for, you know, Opkey's patch certification, which really kind of took the entire burden, you know, from their IT team's plate. You know, with our platform, leveraging the Oracle Test Accelerator, we were able to fill in gaps of coverage, you know, really increasing their overall coverage, validated their end-to-end business processes, you know, from start to finish, you know, across the multiple different enterprise apps, and really removed the need in doing so for any additional testing tools that they needed. Ultimately, Northwell, you know, their certification was cut down to 3 days time. It was taking them 2 weeks, sometimes longer. And it, you know, with Opkey, it got down to being able to certify their patches in 3 days. Their testing coverage, you know, increased from about 40% to 85%. And also they were able to begin accepting more of those enhancements or innovation that Oracle was pushing, and really just overall reducing their IT team's efforts by up to like 70%. This allowed them and freed them to focus on more, you know, value add activities outside of just, you know, trying to get the patch certified. With Northwell, they receive, you know, again, different levels of reports, you know, one on the impact analysis, the automatic data provisioning, and then in a detailed audit trail. So just a introduction or a glimpse into how we can and how we have proven that with Opkey you can build a better, more efficient testing program, and especially when it pertains to the quarterly patches that Oracle continues to release. So last year, before I pass it off to Vishwa, I wanted to just kind of talk about EBS quickly. Some of you might be using both Fusion and EBS. And some of the challenges that we recognize with EBS is migrating EBS to the cloud. You have your pre-migration testing cycle, in migration, post-migration. Oftentimes your Oracle Cloud and EBS are integrated with many different third-party apps, databases, other applications. So testing across all of these integrations can be a huge lift. EBS environments are also found to be very heavily customized, and throughout these migrations, they really need to be replaced with the configurations. And lastly, just overall script maintenance. The smallest of changes in a UI can create large waves across your Oracle application. So some of the things where we can help and how you can utilize Opkey for EBS is our EBS accelerator. Also contains more than 3,000 scripts, covers financials, supply chain management, manufacturing, HRMS modules. Similar to the Fusion accelerators, leveraging these ready-made accelerators can really help speed up those testing cycles. Unlike Fusion, EBS actually has performance and load testing available. So if there is a need on managing, higher usage and identifying any kind of bottlenecks, really just lead to better efficiencies and, potentially any unnecessary costs tied to that. And then lastly, through what we call our Opkey Test Builder, capabilities across multiple versions and the ability to handle, complexity or complex, EBS scenarios, scripts, really can all be performed on our platform. So I know we are about, I think, 40 minutes in here. So I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to pass it off to Vishwa and let him jump into the demo. And Vishwa, let's, I think, just focus on, due to time, and if there's any Q&A that we want to keep open at the end here, let's just focus on what does test discovery look like, the impact analysis and self-healing, and then you're the expert on the platform. So anything else in between that you feel is necessary.
I'll try to crisp the demo within a span of 20 to 12 minutes, but showing majorly all the specific features which are required for any type of use case that we have discussed today. Okay, so this is our platform, Opkey One, using which you'll be able to test any kind of a web application, desktop application, mobile, any kind of API calls, databases, file-based integration, plus the 12 plus ERPs that we support. On the top, we have Oracle Fusion, Oracle EBS, Salesforce, Workday, Coupa, and whatnot. And for all these different applications, we have advanced capabilities. Specifically talking about Oracle Fusion today, we have test discovery, using which we are able to quickly onboard a customer to Opkey. So here we go ahead in test discovery, click on a snapshot and capture the snapshot. Basically, capturing a snapshot is capturing all the transaction logs, the configuration and the activities which is carried out in a specified duration. So let's say take an example of procure to pay. So we put up a name. We need to add up the instance here, and for that we require the user with a role of BI admin. Once that is configured, we can select the environment, select the attribute as discovery snapshot, and select the process. Here we have divided the entire ERP into a vertical approach. So for finance, we have asset to retire, receivables, record to report. All the standard processes that exist are part of the test discovery. So here we select procure to pay, and then we hit start date and end date. Again, this will be the duration among which Opkey will be mining the transaction log and activities and all your active configurations. Once I click analyze, it will take around 7 to 10 minutes and will create a process chart just like this. So I'm opening something which is pre-created just to be mindful of time. And this is how the processing will look like. So once the mining is done, once the snapshot is taken, you'll be able to see something like this. Basically, the center pan shows that what are the different activities that Opkey has. Opkey is able to mine from the environment by looking at your transaction logs. So there are different type of requisitions that the business users are creating. It is going to certain stages: approval, cancellation, auto create purchase orders. It is going ahead for also a blanket purchase agreement approval, and this is what you have been testing as of now. This becomes your as is coverage. On the left, if you see mined as 70, that means there are 70 scenarios that Opkey is able to mine up from your transaction logs. These can be, let's say, creating a non-catalog requisition, catalog requisition and approval. If I go ahead for another one, let's say this can be a bigger process. We are creating a catalog requisition and it is going all the way to put away receipt. As I mentioned, this becomes your as-is coverage, basically using the transaction logs that is created by your functional folks or the business people. We are able to mine up those and show you basically this is what you have been testing as of now. The second part to this is the configurations. As we mentioned that we're also mining up the active configurations. So that brings up here on the right. Using the configurations, we need the data to be seeded in the test cases that we generate so that we can execute it on the instance. All that data comes directly from the configurations. So we are able to generate these data sets again using the AI ML that we have by mining up all the configurations, the active configurations, and this becomes a set of your test cases. Again, we are picking up all the flags, so we are able to judge that which of the test cases that we are bringing is relevant to your configurations or not. And the third part is we are also able to mine up all the master data, whatever you have created, suppliers, BU, supplier sites, all this data. And this helps Opkey to suggest you some more test cases. So these 70 is what you have been testing as of now. But if I open this bucket, you have the suggested of 49. That means Opkey is suggesting that with the configurations that you have been mining, there exists 49 more scenarios which you haven't been testing. And again, these are coming directly from the pre-built repository of 7,000 test cases that Opkey already have. So we are mapping your configuration with the pre-built test cases that we have and bringing out specific cases as per your configurations. Now to increase the test coverage, we can add up the mined cases and the suggested cases and then increase your test coverage to 100%. This is where the statement comes in: how much coverage is the best coverage, or how much we should test. So this is the answer to that question. Now to automate or to basically see this in a test case form, right now everything that you're seeing is a process or is a scenario. If I go ahead to select a scenario and hit the automate button, what Opkey does here is it aligns the pre-built components together that is relevant to this specific scenario and assign one set of data directly from the key configurations that we have mined. So my test case is automated. The test case is create and approve punch out requisition. I can go ahead to the test case, and this is how a test case looks like in Opkey. Pre-built components automatically align together with a specific data set. Log into cloud, create punch out requisition and approve. If I go here on the right, we have this data sheet mode, and this is how the data resides. So what user will be used? Procurement user will be used for creating a punch out requisition. Who will be approving it? What will be the details? Everything can be automatically picked up directly from the configuration. This is how easy it is to onboard a customer in Opkey using test discovery. Using this technique, we are able to create the entire test suite and then add them here under the test suite option. Basically, this, let's say we started with developing a finance test suite, a supply chain test suite, a HCM test suite. All that goes back to the test suite tab where we have these test suites created. Now, relating this to the impact analysis or the quarterly patch upgrades, how we are able to maintain all these test cases. So once all the automation is done, all these are created in a suite-based manner so that you can execute it on multiple machines together in a parallel fashion. So let's say you have 1,000 test cases, you can dedicate 10 VMs and then execute all the 1,000 test cases parallelly. Once the test suites are created like this, you can see multiple test cases aligned together in a specific fashion. Here comes the part where we help you to maintain these, even for your BAU changes, in case you're making configurational changes, or in case you have quarterly patch upgrades. So from the same test cases that we create sanity test suits, and that helps Opkey to capture the snapshots. Basically, those are the technical impression of the environment to understand the changes. So the impact analysis features in a way that before the upgrade, we execute a sanity set test suit to take the pre-snapshot on the environment. That is, let's say, an example of 24B. We execute a sanity snapshot, it takes a snapshot and stores within the test discovery. So an example of that can be like this: a snapshot taken on the 11th. Now, again, once the upgrade is applied to the environment, we again take a snapshot, and that will be the snapshot of 24C, and it will be captured like this. And now we go ahead under impact analysis and compare these two snapshots. So again, as I mentioned, these two snapshots are just the technical impression. So we go ahead, create impact report, compare snapshots. So 24B versus 24C. And once I hit a create button, it will take some time and it will create the comparison. And this is how the comparison will look like. On the left, it will show up for all the modules that you have taken the impact: benefits, goals, inventory, payroll, receipt. I can go ahead to a module, basically forms. So here it says for this specific module of receipts, we have 3 forms. And here it says among the 3 forms, 2 are changed. Now what that changes? I can go to that change one. It says expected versus actual. So that means 24B versus 24C. Anything that you see in red, that means it is deleted. Anything that you see in green, that means it is added. Anything that you see in amber color, that means it is modified. So previously the amount was mandatory, now it is set to non-mandatory. Now, because of these changes, how many of my test scripts are impacted? I can check here under impact analysis. So instead of following the trivial approach where you have all the 1,000 test cases, you run those, you wait for them to fail, fix them, again rerun it. Opkey does it in a smarter way where we identify that what are those test cases where the changes happened because of the upgrade. We select those specific test cases, put it in a risk-based test suite, and then put it for execution. But just before that, we go to the forms, we select the components which are impacted. It will show up and click on the heal button. What it will do, it will apply those changes directly back to the component. We'll see the component has been healed. We'll be able to check that as well. So here a patent pending tech from Opkey comes in picture. We are able to add the steps directly to the components using the by text keywords. So you see this discount field got added and it says a clear notification. This is the auto-generated field added on the basis of impact analysis report. So this way we are able to self-heal the test cases, and now we go ahead to execute those risk-based test suits. And this is all you'll get with Opkey. Once the execution completes, you can go here. Again, you can schedule this as well, but you can go here under test runs and then check your runs. Or you can go ahead to download the reports directly from the platform. These generate automated reports. So you'll be able to select, let's say, a validation report, put up the type you want, validation, module-wise, a summary report, a per test case report. What is the level of screenshot? What is the type of format that you want? You want a PDF document, you want a Word, you want an Excel document. What is the level of snapshots you want? You want the snapshot for every action. You want only for the fail steps. And then selecting multiple test cases together and clicking on generate button. It will take some time, depending on the number of test cases that you select, and will generate the test report for you. You can download it and share it among the network. I think this is what we have on our CRISPR format for Oracle Fusion capabilities. We are open to questions if anyone has.
Yeah, just to add something there, we can certainly work with, Slavic if there is interest to, for any of you folks who wanted to, see a more lengthier demo. Obviously, Vishwa here, we just plan to focus on a few key items, key features that we have, available, more so the ones that, I mentioned during, some of the slides that I was talking about. But we can certainly coordinate more time if there is interest to, take a more detailed look or something more pointed to what, your environment or your current, testing looks like today. So yeah, we can use these last 8 minutes here to address any Q&A. I see that we do have a few questions here in the chat. So Avishek asked, where will this platform reside? Will that be on your local cloud, or will it be a part of our Fusion stack since we use Oracle Fusion? Vishwa, can you talk to a little bit about,
Yeah.
where does Opkey reside, and just
Yeah,
some of the details? Yeah.
Right. So Abhishek, Opkey is a SaaS environment or a SaaS platform. So it generally resides in different regions across the world. So you have the choice to select which data center you want, like a US data center, Europe data center, Australia data center, UAE. We also come up with an option where in case you want to host it in your on-prem model, as you mentioned that you have your Oracle stack, so we can also host Opkey in a OCI infrastructure. So we will come with both the versions. So your SaaS, your private SaaS, that again Opkey will be hosting, and it will be a single tenant, and then a private, basically on-prem model on your choice of cloud.
Thank you, Vishwa. And I hope that helps, clear that up for you there, Abhishek. So Abhishek had a question here as well as, please let us know all the modules which are in scope. And then he listed out ERP, HCM, IC, EPM, and subscription billing. So when you say in scope, there isn't no real limitation on what can be tested with our Opkey platform. Now, if it's what is available for this, from an accelerator perspective, we do, I know for sure, cover ERP, HCM, EPM. I do know we have, a healthy, mature library of accelerators within those three modules. Vishwa, IC subscription billing, do you know off the top of your head if there's things available for that one today?
I think I have to check.
Okay.
But majorly,
Okay.
yeah, all the standard ones are available.
Awesome. And then Avishek had one last question here too.
Yeah.
Do we bring any data within your cloud? This will probably be better for you to address if.
Yeah. So I
go ahead.
need a little more clarification on the question. Do we bring any data within your cloud? So basically, if you are talking about the transactional data, yes, during the mining, we mine up the transaction logs and activities. Yeah. So we mine up the transaction logs and activities, and that resides within your environment. So once we move ahead to the customer, we'll create a separate environment that will be customer.the region, let's say US, Frankfurt, UAE, .opkey1.com, and all the data will be residing in his environment. And again, that is AES 256 encrypted, because that's what AWS provides. In case it is in your premise, it depends on what cloud provider you use and what encryption methodology they are using it. And yes, we do provide dashboards as well. So we have a complete quality lifecycle management tool within Opkey. Using that, you can create custom dashboards, custom reports, pivot tables, pie charts, donut charts. So that's an endless talk to have. Yes. We do have all the 9 to 10 different certifications that you have: SOC 2 Type 2, GDPR, HIPAA, ISO, PEN, a lot more as well.
Yeah. And there's something that I can, certainly pass along to Slavik or to yourself, Abhishek, to detail some of those compliances and certifications that we do possess and own today. So, all right. Well, I think that's all the questions. Slavik, do you have any, last remarks, comments that you want to add before we close this off?
No, first of all, thank you for a great session like usual. Okay. And thanks for all participants. As I said, you can either contact me directly for any question or for the next session if you would like to schedule. And in any case, we will contact you too if you don't care. So just to ask how if you would like to continue. So I think that that's it for today from my side at least. And it's worth at least one more meeting, I suggest, for all participants here to understand a little bit more and to see how we can fit your needs, either if you work with ABS cloud hybrid, you didn't see, or even the For example, Salesforce. I know a few customers here have also Salesforce implementation together with Oracle, and we can cover this complicated implementation environments too. I mean, processes, cross-system processes like Salesforce and Oracle EBS and cloud. It's completely covered. But as I said, we will contact each one and we will ask if you would like to see more. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your time for both sides, Opkey and customers. So see you later.
Yeah.
Next session.
Thank you. Thank you, Slavik. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. Everyone have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.